Why don't you start by telling us how you actually became a member? Because it's a little secret of the Centurion. No one really knows the exact requirements, but yeah, share with us your story.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when I always had a love for credit cards. What's up, guys? Simon here. In this episode or video, we're going to go ahead and talk about my biggest interview to date. That was with Ben Hedges, who has over 180,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's a very nice guy, has a deep love for credit cards and points, and his channel is all about credit cards. So someone on my channel reached out to me on Instagram at Simon I Know, and then said, hey, you need to reach out to Ben and do a collab to see if he would be willing to bring you on his show, which is obviously bigger than mine. And I said, sure, I'll do it. Thanks for the advice. I reached out to Ben. Ben said, hey, I do American Express Centurion stories, and this is pretty cool because you're an actual member of the American Express Centurion Card, so I would love to have you on the show, and it was my first one. So in this episode or video, we're going to go over that interview, give you some of the highlights and my experience on how fun it was to be interviewed by Ben. So before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video, it's the biggest favor you could do for me. Check out Ben's channel, Ben Hedges, on YouTube. The link is below as well. And let's get into this video. So Ben and I had a call to go over the video. It was my first interview, and I just did it off a webcam, which was probably not the best idea. So the first interview was kind of funny because Ben kept asking me, do you have a camera? Do you have a camera? And I kept answering, Ben, yeah, I do YouTube videos. What are you talking about? But it turns out in the Zoom video that we were doing, I did not turn on my camera for about 40 minutes into that initial introduction. What are you about? Blah, blah, blah. So he kept asking, and I go, Ben, why do you keep asking me if I have a camera? What's going on? Am I comfortable on camera? And then I realized I didn't have mine turned on. I turned it on. There was a good laughing moment. So we got to chop it up and talk about credit cards, which is a passion of mine and his. We talked about YouTube, how to monetize and so forth. And Ben is successful at YouTube, and I admire that. And I personally came on YouTube to kind of just share stuff and haven't really made much money on it, but he was able to utilize it. So I picked his brain for a bit before we went deep into credit cards. So in the first question, or the first thing that Ben actually played on his channel, was a funny Centurion story with strippers involved. At one point, I had all these strippers sitting there with the Centurion card, and they were listening to me talk, thinking that I'm gonna take them on a jet somewhere, where I don't have a jet or anything like that. But they think all these things because there's so much build up to the Centurion card. And as you could see on the American Express Insider Stories Part 3 from Ben's video, I had a funny, stripper story that happened when I was much younger. But some of the questions we went over, I've also went over on my channel in my How to Get a Black Card video. Check that out. And his question was, how did I get the black card?
Now you've had a couple of viral videos actually on the Amex Black Card on YouTube. Why don't you tell us about that, and then we'll get into how you got the card and some cool insider secrets.
Sure. Yeah, I've had a few good videos. People seem to be interested. It's like a credit card that's secretive and hard to get. And I decided to put out a video during the pandemic. It actually took off. The video wasn't really well edited. It was my first one, but it did well. And I've been making Centurion credit card videos ever since. And I went over how I got the black card in his question, and I think I answered it good. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed that interview or if you saw it. Another cool question that Ben asked me was, what is people's reaction when I use the Centurion card? How do they feel, etc.? And I thought I did a good job answering that.
So that's how you got the card, and a little bit about it, about the Centurion Lounge and stuff. What are some of the kind of let's say, yeah, let's start with the reactions people have. What are some of the reactions people have when they see you using it?
Okay, so remember, I've been a member for a long time. I told you over a decade. I think member since '05, and I had the Centurion in 2010 or 2012, around that time. Um, First, when Centurion came out with their metal credit card, they had it had some heft to it. There wasn't many credit cards that had that metal feel or heft, and I think Amex was the first to introduce that I'm aware of. So people used to go, "Oh my God, this is nice. It's heavy." They would say, "Wow, this is a heavy card," and I would reply, at Starbucks, like, "Hey, heavy card, heavy bill that comes in at the end of the month," just to joke around. There was a lot of reaction from it, and people were excited to feel it. They would tap it, they would hit it. I've had people drop it by accident and it would have that metal sound. They'd go, "Oh my God," so it was really nice. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve came out, I believe, afterwards, and it also had some heft to it, and that kind of diluted that reaction of people going, "Oh wow, you have this really heavy card, what is this about?" I would get a lot of people know what the card is if you're shopping at a high-end place. So if you go to Louis Vuitton or a Rolex store or any of these like really high-end places, which I have some videos on, you get attention. They know that you can spend the money or you will spend the money. If you go to like a Starbucks nowadays, like I did back in the day, they don't even care. And with like this whole thing where people aren't touching your credit card anymore and you're tapping, you get unnoticed.
And as you guys could tell, the Centurion card had a lot of hype to it and a lot of people feeling the card's heft and everything that they experienced during that time from that answer. I hope I answered that well. Let me know again in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. There are many crazy experiences that I had with the Centurion Concierge during his interview. I told him about a video where I've had many different experiences, and some of them were funny, some of them were cool, and some of them actually worked by having the Centurion card.
So what was one of the funniest experiences you've had with the card?
Oh, so, I've had pretty interesting experiences with the Centurion. I would say when I was younger and before I was married and I would go out with groups of people, the funniest experiences would be at strip clubs with the Centurion card. I'm not a big strip club guy. I don't, it's not my favorite thing to go. There are people that love it, and I'm not one of those people. But when we would travel for a bachelor party or a trip to Vegas, the Centurion card would get you in the door, because a lot of the bouncers and a lot of the people that work at those clubs, they listen to rap music and they listen to, Jay-Z talking about it or whatever. And you'd say, "Hey, I'm a Centurion member. I got the black card," etc. They would get you and they would get you seated because they think you're going to buy a world of champagne for all the ladies, and I would be more on the frugal side because it's not my thing. I don't care to pop bottles and show off to someone else, etc., and then blow, thousands of dollars. So I would flash it a few times to the strippers and I'd make up a funny story because I don't have anything interesting. But say, "Yeah, me and Lil Wayne were like partying and we have this." And they, at one point, I had all these strippers sitting there with the Centurion card, and they were listening to me talk, thinking that I'm going to like take them on a jet somewhere, where I don't have a jet or anything like that. But they think all these things because there's so much build up to the Centurion card that you're some type of world traveler or baller, or you're just spending money recklessly, that's what they think it's all about. When in fact, most of Centurion members, according to Amex Centurion, and I have a great team, thank you, Amex, a lot of them are business people. So a lot of people are on the back end and not as many celebrities as you would think.
Then Ben and I also talked about how is it like having a Centurion card? And I feel like I've answered that question pretty well. And I always tell you guys, having a Centurion card is a cool goal to have, but that's not the best thing you could do in your life. In fact, you really want to just have a good business or passive income or income that will enable you to enjoy things like the Centurion card or Rolex watches or luxury watches and luxury vacation travels. Fun events, like I recently did a video on the BMW car driving experience, check that out. And that's all done because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm able to allocate time to enjoy life in that sense. Ben also asked me, how good is the concierge? And I felt like I answered that well. Let's see what I said.
So I know that the Centurion kind of prides itself on its concierge and like being able to get hard to get items and things like that. Have you ever used the concierge and you have any experiences with that?
Okay, so there's a couple of things. In London or in Paris, my wife and I traveled. Very hard to get in restaurant. I forgot the name. I apologize. If I do, I'll email you or something. But there was like where David Beckham went and a lot of high-end celebrities, and we were not able to get in. So we called Centurion and they got us in because they have some type of relationship. And it was like a last-minute reservation. They're usually 3 months out.
Wow.
And the same thing happened in Napa at French Laundry. It's a very popular restaurant in Napa Valley. Yeah. Probably, I think, top 10 restaurant in the world or something like that. And last minute, we were able to get in. Amex has a good relationship. There was a nightclub one time. We really wanted to get into this nightclub, and we were not able to get in. And I flashed and the Centurion cards again to the bouncers. These guys seem to know more about these cards than anybody else. And we were able to get in, and we were able to party that night while we were in London. So awesome. Overall, you could use it for certain things in certain restaurants, but there's a lot of times where it just doesn't work. I had a thing where I was going to put it on the internet and say, hey, I'm going to go to Centurion and ask for 3 exotic Rolex watches that I really want. And although I have a great, relationship with my Rolex dealers, and I'm a collector, and there's some videos on my channel you guys can check out, but they were not able to get them. In fact, they would email back and forth saying they can't connect. There's a waiting list. They have no power. They can't force a Rolex dealer to do it. They have no direct relationship with a Rolex company or a Patek company. So is Centurion going to get you like something that everybody else wants and is waiting in line for? Probably not in reality. But if they have a relationship with a restaurant, or if you're going to a strip club, it looks like you're going to have a good time getting in, or a nightclub, etc., because they just think you're going to blow money and you're going to want to show off. And you've already showed off by showing them the card.
So half of it seems like maybe for some of the things you don't even need to phone the concierge. You just flash the card, right?
Yeah, for some of those things, absolutely, you don't need the concierge.
And then Ben also and I discussed how well, or what do I think of the new fee? Is the card still worth having? And I feel like I also answered that question well.
But I was finally able to get approved. This was a decade ago when I got accepted. The initiation fee was $5,000, or the one-time membership fee, and the yearly fee was $2,500. And the additional card fee was only $1,500. Now it's $10,000. Yeah, it was cheap. And then, as of recent, and you reported on it probably, they raised the fee to $10,000 one time and $5,000 a year, plus $5,000 for every member. And I felt that for me to pay $10,000 a year to have a credit card just so my wife and I have it, it was not necessary. So unfortunately, she got hers canceled. And I had to chop her.
And overall, I felt like the interview went very well. I personally watched it, and I usually don't watch videos that I make in full because I'm on to the next video. But this video I watched, and I thought Ben did an amazing job. It was so fun to be on the interview with him. And he said maybe we'll do a credit card meetup event in the future, potentially in Las Vegas or something like that. I may actually be down for that. So comment below if you guys ever want to do a credit card enthusiast meetup event somewhere where we all have fun. There are so many different interests and groups of people out there. I feel like the credit card community is one of the coolest and best communities and most loyal. So I'm very thankful to be part of that community. I also thank you guys for being patient with me while I enjoy making videos of different types, and I hope you enjoy those too in regards to the entrepreneur lifestyle, which enables you to get some of the coolest credit cards. Remember, I started off with the simplest credit card out there. In fact, it was a prepaid credit card, and worked my way up from the Amex Blue cards all the way up to the Centurion card, with many credit cards in between from all different brands. So credit cards have always been my passion, and have always been something that I've attained or tried to acquire. If you watched that video, let me know. If not, the link is below. I thought it was very good. But let me know what the highlights of that video were for you in my comments. I'll obviously respond. Let me know if you'd like to see me do any more interviews with anybody else out there. I could reach out to those individuals. I reached out to some other people as well that have pretty big YouTube channels, but they never responded. I'm sure they are busy, or I'm sure they just don't want me on, and you can't blame them, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My interview with Ben Hedges. Thank you, Ben, for the opportunity. I had a blast. Thank you for your time. And I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about the Centurion credit card, which is actually a credit card that is so mystified. And I'm glad more and more people are making YouTube videos on it and talking about their experiences. And I'm glad to be part 3, which is a good number, of that experience that you shared. Once again, thank you. I'll catch you guys here in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out Ben's channel as well. Thank you.